What do you consider a healthy and godly relationship? Have you ever experienced a toxic relationship? How do you tell you are in a toxic relationship? How do you ensure that your relationship or marriage remains healthy? Stay tuned as Dr. Njeri Gashohi takes us through today's lesson on the marriage classroom.
Yes, we again meet in our marriage classroom and want to greet you. How are you? How has been the learning? Awesome. So if you have followed us together with our viewers from the time we started talking about being single and all up to looking at the health of our relationships, or maybe later when God gives us those relationships, how to know that they are healthy. And maybe that's what I would want us to link up kidogo, so that the watch or the one who is watching us for the maybe this time and missed last time would know what to look for if he wants to know. We talked about healthy relationship, and something came out which I loved from one of our students, a medic, and he said that when we talk about those looking for those vital signs before you are told go and see a cardiologist or go and see, we first look for what we call vital signs of health, and he called it so wale wa kusoma hiyo wadaktari mnajua inaitwa triage, where you first pass and first you go pima weight, hata kama ni yako unapima, unajua kilo ni ngapi, pima pressure, unajua, then after that pima oxygen. These days mpaka oxygen.
Tunapima oxygen.
Wow. Okay, then else, what else?
Then kuna temperature.
Yes.
Especially this time of COVID.
COVID, yes.
Yeah.
So you can hear now vital signs means either unapumua vizuri, your heart is all right, and your heart rate and all that, and even sugar level, isn't it? And now that is what goes later for the lab analysis. But you realize we need to know that we are in health. And there were some questions that came up, and we can address some of them. Now, there was a question about the issue of if in that relationship, because we talked about when, and in one of the measures of an unequal relationship, I mean a relationship that is not healthy is when there is an imbalance. And this imbalance can come in a way when people are making demands. Now, there is these times when we have had people go for or looking for people with a checklist. You have heard of a checklist? Or do you have one? Okay, and you say one must be how many meters tall? 6 feet. Even to the centimeter, maybe 1 centimeter. Very crucial for some, I don't know. Okay. Now, whichever, I'm not saying 6 feet because I don't know how many are 6 feet. You keep looking, but they are there. And then you go on and even put your complexion. Now, there is one who has even put there that it must be a man who knows how to cook. Know how to cook. Okay. Now, tell me, so that the issue is this, we may take turns to cook. Now, now if you get one who can cook, does that show that your relationship is healthy? Or what do you take this? Let me get the response from the class. Is that one of the things that we should really go for, looking for in a relationship? I have 2 hands. Yes.
For one, he might cook for you, but he is not there for the relationship, so it's not healthy. Secondly, he is not empathy. Maybe if he cooks for you, he's so empathic on you. Maybe you are tired. Maybe you have some issues that haunting you. So don't take the advantage or the generosity of him. So thirdly, if you get a man who knows how to cook, just appreciate him. Not many. I mean not many.
But there are those who are able to
yeah. And not like every day, maybe I'm tired, can you cook for me? Can you do this for me? No, don't take advantage of him.
True.
Let him be the head of the family. Let him be a man. A man will always be a man. So maybe if he will cook for you, he is so empathetic.
Okay.
That's what I can say.
Now let's get it from Alan. Yes.
For me, what I will say, let that one not be a demand, because it might be one of the vital signs of a toxic marriage later. But if you, it's always good if a man himself is comfortable in doing something at a particular day. For instance, for me, one day I can say, and it has happened, I can say, today for me, ndio nitatengeneza hiyo nyama. And I cook. I just want to make them happy one day. Even if it's once in a month, you know, they will feel good. Even hata kama kuna house help, she'll also feel comfortable working in that house. So what about the wife? She'll also be happy on the same. So it's about that passion. If today I just feel that sense of just going to the kitchen, I'll go there and I'll be very happy doing that. But if it's a demand,
Not a Jute roster.
if it's a Jute roster, yes.
Mimi Tuesday.
Yeah, if it's like that, then I think that is one of the signs of trying to start up the toxic relationship.
True. I want to say that if there is any time that somebody comes out of your way to help, okay, when we say a cook, I believe that each one of us can even learn, whether you know how to cook or you don't. And this should not be one of the things that you look for, because this might be deceiving. You may get one who can be able to cook. And as she said, not empathetic. I mean, you want only to cook and the rest you do. And I mean, so I will be cooking, provide what to cook. So I'll be the cook now. You leta ile yote unataka nipike. So, and now when it comes now to taking turns, then you realize this is not healthy. And so it's important to check on this. Again, the danger signs are here, and they are with us because we need to be very careful. With the modernity, as we call it, and the economic empowerment of the girl child, it should not, make us not know where, where the line stops, because this is what is causing marriages to fail. And I have emphasized, and we talked and we learned in the last lesson, why you need to either consider or not consider being in a relationship. If you still only think about yourself, because even when you keep saying, can't he also do it, or it is his turn, or it is her turn, that means we have not moved away from I, me, myself, personally. Now, if you think you're being inconvenienced, why do I have to wake up early, or why do I have to do this for? You would have stayed without getting married, because in that way, no one will wake you, or no one will tell you, cook for me, or nobody will ask you, where are my socks? Okay? Then the man would not be bothering, if somebody asks you, please, I need some money to go for the salon, and he's like, even this week. Okay, and because some of these responsibilities we have to know, even how to know that we need to sacrifice. So let's be, let's look at why we are in that relationship. Because if it is for selfish reasons like I want somebody who can cook for me, or another one who can do this for me, you may realize after all these are things that you can do. We have, I understand there are even some robots these days who can cook. You program them, pizza, they will put it to the exact temperature and mixing. So if it is about roles that can be played by a machine or anything, then you realize, kama ni cook, mtu wa kuchota maji, all these things can substitute it. But when you talk about a companion, I think we think more why we need to marry, okay? Yes. And the other reason is we also need to know that some of these things may keep fluctuating, even that health. And just like the way we take care of our personal health, our relationships' health may keep dwindling, but that does not mean naenda kufa. I know there are those times when you feel like you're not feeling well. But the next day, after either going for a checkup and getting medicine, what happens? You are up again, isn't it? So a relationship, the fact that today no one has called you, don't say, I'm calling it quits. It's also good to get diagnosis, isn't it? What really happened? What is happening? Why aren't we talking to one another? Why, vile watu wanauliza kwa nini tunanyamaziana? Then you realize if there was a reason, then you solve it. Some of us, either it's because in another relationship there was an issue, and somehow instead of addressing it, we now carry it over to another relationship, thinking it is the same. So kindly let us check why it is not healthy. But now I want us to look at briefly how to maintain that health. How do you continue in that health relationship, even as we check also on our health? What are those things that we need to take care of so that that relationship that has started, it continues growing and becoming healthier and healthier every day? As the Proverbs say, that hope deferred makes the heart sick. But when it matures, it becomes a what? It's like a tree of life, okay? It becomes like it's growing. It becomes, but when it is not matured, it seems like our hearts become sick. And it should be becoming brighter and brighter every day. So maintaining a healthy relationship. Remember, one of the vital signs that we said of a healthy relationship is when we are so, we are persuaded or we are comfortable with the fact that this relationship is taking me to my purpose and destiny, okay? This is my life purpose. This is what I want to achieve. And I find I am better person. I know, and I don't want to mention names, but I can say, I look at my son and I realize that when he got the love of his life, then it's like all of a sudden, his big ideas seem to come into place. He has good ideas and big ideas, and he has executed them. He went to do a diploma in journalism and media, and it's like, I never used to get the results before when he was in the university, but this time I would get the results, and I was told that they were not only being sent to me, but to the lady. And he graduated with a first class. And I know that was not mine. There was somebody who was there helping him to do his best. A distinction. Zingine anapata mpaka 90%. Najua hii. Si mimi nilikuwa nasomewa sana. Kuna a spectator yule who was helping him. And I realized that even today he can look back and say his life became better, more focused. And I said, I even felt like my son has changed all of a sudden. Because, wow, when you're in love, and this person is taking you to your life destiny or purpose, then it's like you get somebody who is a cheering squad. Okay? So, one of the things that is important to know or to maintain in a healthy relationship is when Jesus is kept at the center of that relationship. Don't think you are too much in love that you don't even have time to pray together or even to commit your plans to God. Don't say our marriage is in heaven or or our relationship is made in heaven. Even the demons cannot stop because it can be stopped. Yeah, it can be stopped because some have been stopped even after saying demons cannot. So because heaven can say no, yes, and heaven has the final word, isn't it? So let's keep, we walk in line with the word of God. So we seek his will in all that we do. Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6 talks about committing our ways to the Lord, seeking his will in all you do, and he will direct your paths. Proverbs 3 verse 5 and 6. That is, commit your ways. Trust not in your own understanding. There are those times when you think, like we say, I want us to do this, we'll marry this time, we'll go this way. The Bible says, come now. You will say tomorrow and the other day, we'll go here and do this and do this. You can plan, but you see, the execution is from the Lord. Are we together? So as you plan, even for your marriage and the direction of your wedding, keep Jesus at the center of your life. The other thing that's very important for that relationship to be healthy always is have the right convictions about sexual purity or the place of sexual purity in your relationship. And I want to emphasize it here and say it not only as me, but the Bible, just like Paul would say, this is not even me, it is the Lord. Now, sexual relations in a relationship that is not yet in, joined together, you are not in marriage, is a no-no. It doesn't matter what the world tells us and paints it. It will never be right now, it will never be right tomorrow. It will never be okay, even in the future. It doesn't matter whether you are going to marry tomorrow. You still remain unmarried, as the Bible says, Hebrews 13 verse 4. Marriage be honored by all, and the marriage bed be kept pure. Because for the fornicators and adulterers, God will judge. And there's nothing that ruins a relationship, whichever. Whether you say even your parents have accepted, you've gone for goito or urashio, sijui nini, and all that, and you are a Christian, and decide to put the cart before the horse, it will never work. And that's all I'm saying. Now, if God was to give you his gift, what is his gift during the wedding day? Wengine watakuletea diro na vikobe na bed na nini na pressure cooker and all that. But what does God give you on that wedding day? It is the gift of one another. Now you can imagine I'm bringing a gift to you and I'm saying, surprise? There was no surprise. There is no surprise. True or not? Is it true? Yes. Now, people say they just, all that you're waiting is the marriage. What's the marriage for? It's not just showing people that you're going to the altar and yet all that, it's like sugar cane imekunywa yote juice, mnaleta hiyo magada kwa pasta hapa. Tubarikishie hii miwa, twende tukule. Na mlikula kila kitu. So what is the surprise? And if it is for the issue of getting the cupboards and all the wardrobes and all that, it is all right. But I want to say this, for Christians, this must be our convictions. And I want to say this, if you are in a relationship and somebody keeps trying the boundaries, that is where you say, now call it quits. You can't keep trying. Today, somebody is even trying to force you to kiss you by force, and you are resisting. Now you must have, both of you, the same convictions. Are we clear on that? Because in that way, that relationship will not be healthy. And once it starts physical, you don't talk about anything else. You'll find anytime you are together, you start drawing closer. You can't talk about where would you want to stay, where would you work, where do you want to go. Oh, there is a lot to talk before that time. But once you put the cart before the horse, now everything else is out of place. Then agree on the boundaries, timelines, and the direction. Let's say the boundaries, the objectives, or the direction of your relationship, and keep reviewing it. In fact, we say, because that is also the first thing that you discuss when you start a relationship. But for it to be healthy as we continue, keep reviewing those core values, core objectives, the main direction of your relationship. Where are we headed to? Where are we going? So if you keep reviewing, or where have you reached? And it's important, anytime any two people who are relating, we meet. I know sometimes it looks like it is very fast to ask, but you can't tell me we are in a relationship and I ask you questions, very crucial questions. You look at one another and you're like, you tumeongea. You see, you're in a relationship, I ask you, do you intend to marry? You say yes. Do you have, what you call it, a tentative time or year? It's like look at one another. You marry when? Tomorrow? Next year? 10 years to come? There must be. And what are those things that are preventing you for now? You say she has to complete college, she has to do this, or he has to do this, he intending to do this. Now that is very important. After, wengine tunawauliza nini mnangojea? Hata hatujui. Now, when it comes to issues of agreeing, those timelines, and also what you call, if you can have those milestones, we tell people work backwards. Now you're in a relationship, you'd want to get married, maybe in 3 years to come. Start working backwards so that you may know what should you be doing right now. So maybe you think it's not taking dowry, but do you know any person? Unajua ako na dada ngapi? How many have you ever met? Some even start planning their marriage without even knowing whether the girl has a brother or has a mother, or that you met somebody twende kwenu. Now, I believe those are issues that first in a relationship, you know who they are. So that even by the time you say, it can be a visit. When do you visit kwenu? When do my sisters know? It may not even know. I would want you to meet my brother. And then, this is my friend. Or this is my girlfriend. This is my fiancé. And after that, you go back. At least somebody knows you're in a relationship. Now work backwards so that you may know if it's 1 year, 2, what do you start with? Maybe I show up at her home, just there to show I'm interested here anytime I make up. Now that is now where we say the milestones or timelines. So a relationship that does not have any milestones, whether it is in 3 years to come, you don't even know what can be there, and then I think there may be. Then what I'm saying is when it comes to the issues also of setting standards and boundaries, and especially when it comes to issues of purity, now it's important that you put it down. We say, Kasuku would say, put it down on paper. I'm not saying that you put it down on paper, but I want to say, can each one of you know what it means to flout a boundary? There are those girls, and I know one who said, my first kiss will be at the altar. What does that mean? Don't ever try, ever, again, any place, okay? So that girl I know, she had to leave a guy who constantly, during the time they are partying, wants to, because unaingia kwenu, steal a kiss. He said, I think I've always said about this. So if you find somebody who always wants to really naeka mguu kama ngamia, then next time utajua vile kutaendea. So what happens is, kindly, if it is possible, spell it out. The Bible says in Lamentation 3 verse 27, that is good for a man to bear the yoke. That is Lamentation 3 verse 29. It is good for a man to bear the yoke in the days of his youth. In the days of his youth, what does that mean? When you are young, make sure that you have some limits. You already know your boundaries. And even when you are single, as we said it, in the other lesson was the fact that you already know who you are. So you know how you operate. Which are those boundaries? Which are your yokes? Where can't you be? What can't you do? In a relationship now, can you talk about what can't you do? What will you be doing? Okay? What does that mean? I mean, if you want to let your relationship continue to be healthy, don't always be together, always in enclosed places. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Goja tu. Shetani anajua pale ananyemereaga. People never have those intentions. But you're always there. And sometimes you're going closer and closer. Hata kama ni kushare Bible. You don't know how the heart strays. So all that I want to say is this. The Bible asks, can one clarify in his bosom and not be burnt? Because there's those times we think, I can carry fire and I will not be burned. So it's important. What are those boundaries? And it's not that you're unspiritual, wengine wanafikiri, me I'm spiritual. Hata tunaweza, you know, there are those used to argue. Hata tunaweza rara kwa room moja. Kuna kashetani kanyemereanga usiku. Kajui wewe kama ni bishop au ni pastor. So wacha na kujaribu. You know, you go to that territory, please don't say you are never warned. It is better to be, you know, never, you know, we said to be safe than sorry. Why would Joseph not stay there arguing with the Potiphar's wife? You know, mimi ni mtumishi hapa. Wewe hata sitaki kuuza, usinikaribie. Na anaendelea kuja, and she has already timed when there is no one in the house. Hata angepiga duru hakuna mtu angemu. So do you stay there starting kushidwa au shidwe na you know, in tanks? That is the time you take off, and there is no problem. Cowards live to tell the story, and they can come and be heard, and somebody will say, I was never guilty. So it's not, there is no problem. This girl I love, and my daughter is in Christ. A lovely girl, like not much your daughter, but I call her my daughter. And a guy visits her all the way to her workplace, and he comes in the evening, and it's in a plot, and there is no other bed except what she has, and the man seems not to be in a hurry to leave. And this is what happened. She just cooked, they ate, and just told the man, you know, you're sleeping here. And she said, no, I want to sleep at the couch, you can sleep there. He said, we are not sleeping in the same house. In this plot, I am a Christian, they know me as a Christian. I know I have a couch and there is a bed. But I don't know who I will go to convince there that we never slept together. I have my testimony. Again also, I don't tempt Satan. Let me see. You don't say, I'll put a spiritual barrier, fire! You say fire here. No. Or she said, and the man will say, no, you don't have. He said, okay, excuse me, let me just go out and help myself. She went out, locked the door, and she went to a neighbor's mama and said, please, allow me to sleep at your couch. He said, no, you can't sleep here. I'll give you a bed. He said, I have a visitor, and I just want you to give me some place to spend. Do you know she was saying, before she had tried to start a Bible club for children, and no one would trust her with the kids, because, you know, a girl, you know, what does she didn't want to teach our children, but because of that day when she slept at her place, that mama was the one who went everywhere telling, this girl is really saved. This one, unajua, yesterday she came, and I want to tell you, her Bible club for kids was always a darling for all the children. They would never want to miss to go. Why? That was a testimony. Tuko pamoja. So I'm saying, set boundaries. If somebody is not cooperative, please do it Joseph style. That's what we read about Joseph. Okay? He lived to tell the story. And so that's why it's important. I've said you can flee or remove yourself from those compromising situations. Flee if possible. Tunasema mguu ni ponye, okay? Nikikuyu tusende roa nyarele. Ikifika hapo, jiondoe, jitoe na ile mzuri kama flash, potea. Because you may never live to tell the story. That argument like Tamar with Amnon, oh please, uliza baba yangu sijui. I believe wakati aliona ndugu yake na vile anataka, angeitana, it would have helped her, isn't it? Sometimes let's remove ourselves in those situations. Okay? And I want also to say this, for that relationship to remain healthy, can you keep renewing your love and commitment to one another? Si kusema, somebody was asked, you have never told, these days you don't tell me that you love me. Kamwambia, nikibadilisha nitakwambia. I mean, I still love you. In case I change my mind, I will So the next time maybe I'll talk is when I've changed my mind. No, it's like the status quo remains. I don't think so. Because that's the time we are taking one another for granted, okay? So you are in a relationship. One of the binding glue is love. Please keep assuring one another of their possession. You love them. They are yours if possible. Even as we say, show affection, whether it is in a text, right? Hi, today I thought about you and I imagine how blessed I am to have you in my life. Wow. Unapea mtu cloud 9 the whole day. Okay? Kesho anapanga vile atakwambia whether you are okay. Let me leave there. Okay. So what you're saying is kindly dress up or be able to show affection because that's very important. It makes the relationship to continue being healthy. Now, one of the other things is important is accountability partner. Find an accountability partner. It may not be a partner, it can be even a couple. You have started a relationship. You've not been in this way before. As you know, sometimes we say this is not where you have trod, but others have gone before. Now, instead of thinking you are your own man or your own people, it's like the only people who have ever had a relationship. Would you want somebody to hold you accountable? Because that's very important. And that starts from the first time when you say, now what people say, going steady. You are in a relationship. Tell somebody, if you're in a Christian union and you know somebody you can trust, go and tell them, we so and so, and we are in a relationship. In that way, if people ever saw you together, if people find you somewhere taking coffee together, they will not say what is going on. Okay? In that way, somebody, we say, unatembea kwa nuru. And that issue also helps people not always to think, what's wrong, what's happening. They already know. These people have already said they are relating. And I think in many churches and in many fellowships, they allow that. Once you know you're in a relationship, tell people, let them know, or those that are accountable to you, they need to know, so that later they may ask, because tomorrow I find you taking tea with another person, I ask you, I thought you told me you're so and so. What do you think Jane would feel if found you? That's afikiria vile anafikiria. Me and I already, she cannot prevent me being with my friends. Now, why did you really, if you still need time to be with your friends, why do you need to be in a relationship? I think this is where we came from, the time when we were talking about being single, isn't it? Being single, have all the time with your buddies. Go for tea, go for coffee together. But when you start thinking, I need to be in a relationship, then that person needs to be secure that I'm this person's friend or best friend. Okay? See, today you take me out for coffee, tomorrow I'm told you are with so and so, you went out for lunch, somebody may ask question, who am I? And you say, no, I still have my friends. Do I have to get rid of them? Yes. Not to get like, they'll throw them away. But I think this is where now we go. We now try to narrow down our focus to one another. Why? Because we are going to forsake all that I had, and you're forsaking all that I had, and work this relationship towards marriage. Okay? And one of those signs, as we said, unhealthy, is where people always justify, I was with my friends. I was with so and so. What do you want me to do? Nilikuwa nyumbani. Sasa sitakuwa nikienda nyumbani. Now, no one tells you should not be going home. But I think what we have said, and no one should prevent you from going or somebody else to go and see friends or home. But it's not where, if we had planned to be together, and you are not there, you tell me you are so and so, and I should understand. There must be some issue together. So, and we said, if there is that passive-aggressive, that passive-aggressive? Instead of answering the question, I'm putting you on that side of the defense. Sasa ulikuwa unataka nifanye nini? Mama alitana nyumbani. You know, you could have told me, Mom has called me, though we were supposed to meet. Can you plan we meet another day? I first rush home and I know what Mom wants, isn't it? So if I'm that important, you would tell me, and I would say, it's okay. It's good to go home. I already know it. But when you come and tell me, sasa nikifanya nini? Ulikuwa unataka nini? My parent is still my parent, you know? And no one has said you should let go your parent. No one has said you should never obey them. But the issue is this. I think we had an understanding, isn't it? And in that way. So we keep, an accountability partner is very important because they keep us on track. Because we keep, that's what I do sometimes. We meet and say, oh, how are you doing? Okay, and maybe I would want to know, how far have you gone? And you say, oh, we went to so and so, we went and visited and all that. All that I'm doing is not really what do you call it, monitoring. But the issue is this. I want to see whether you're still following up with your goals and your objectives. If there is an issue, you say, you know, there is this part, and then we talk, and then you realize, that was not even something so hard. So that's why it's important. Get somebody who can help you walk along, and that sometimes those also people help us. Yes, I would give a chance for 1, 2, 3 questions or comments on the same. We are quiet today. Another way of maintaining health in our relationship, or what would make it? Yes,
We should have the communication. Yeah.
Yes, the communication. Communication. I don't know how to keep emphasizing communication, communication. Because as I am explaining, if somebody goes somewhere and later comes to say, ningefanya nini? You know, just a simple communication to say, ninaenda hapa, au kumetokea hivi, that's why I may not be available. You know, that's communication. That solves kesi ile ingetokea yote. Najua, if somebody had known, that's all. Because sometimes, if we give the information in form of communication, hizo kesi zinakuanga. Kwa nini? Kwa nini ukufanya hivi? Why did you do this? Why? Where were you? Why did you? All those. Kama ni kesi, it will not be there because somebody will understand what happened. Okay? And so, in time when you are in a relationship, remember, I keep saying, somebody has a right to information. That communication must be there. Today I am here. When I live here, it's not that really he must know or he would ask, mulimaliza saa ngapi. But in case I'm through, I'll tell him, by the way I'm through, so that if there was anything that he wanted us to do, after this I find that we have some time, isn't it? Now niende nyumbani nasema, mulimaliza, kwa nini hukuniambia? That means, why he's telling me, why didn't you tell me wakati mulimaliza? He is asking, I expected you, or there is that subtle right, you know, or would you call it latent right to information, because I'm no longer myself. I can't just say I'm finished, I have enough time, and then I said, let me go and see my friend in Kikope. And because I'm not time. It's not the same like when you are single, isn't it? I may say, I want to reach Kikope. I don't know whether you have something you wanted us to do today. And if he says, I want us to do that, I suspend my going to Kikope, and I'll say, I'll go another time. Because there is that part where if we're in a relationship, then that relationship must be maintained with constant communication. Yes, Constance?
I have a question.
Yes, just a bit loud.
If sex before marriage is a sin, what about arguing when we are dating or in a relationship and not married?
Hugging.
Yeah.
How often? Now, you see, you know that there are those questions that sometimes I don't know where to draw a line. Just like Kofi would ask, there is a gray line. I don't know how to make them white. The reason is, anything, sometimes it may be just simple one. But what happens is, love, and people who are in love, it can be like addiction. It's like, it goes the stages of addiction. What I mean by addiction is this. Today we will start with just one simple, greeting. If we are in love, you realize that greeting, we can stay a bit longer. The warmth is, it's not like the way I see sometimes Kalenjins, you know, they greet and unasikia mkono kama imeponyoka mara moja. I don't know. I used to find it funny. I greeted somebody and it's like immediately mkono imetolewa haraka ina kama inakwara kidogo hivi. Wow. And I would look at that person, I realize that's how they greet. But then you realize once it's no longer hiyo inashika kidogo, inashika, inaenda ikishika. After that unakuta si kushika tu, unasalimia mtu halafu namwekelea mkono hapa. Okay? It feels a bit good. Now tomorrow, just like in addiction, hiyo kuguza hivi may not have the same, you know, it may not have the same you know, feeling. So you may find yourself like you'd want to touch more. So that's what I'm saying. That hugging, you see, you may just one hug, you are going home. Tomorrow if you meet, you hug and stay a little bit longer. It feels good. Tomorrow unasikia watu, after that, you know, you are still feeling good. It was good. So you hug, then unasikia mgogo, mtu anakusugua. Okay? And you see, the fact that I said, inakaa kama ile, unasikia ile story ya mgwamia, iliingiza tent, inakuta Mwarabu, inasema, it's very hot. Naweza ingiza tu kichwa. Sawa, kama ni kichwa tu kwa hema, naingiza kichwa. The next time, inaingiza mpaka muku, the ham. Before he realized, it continued, inaweka mguu moja. Before he realized now, Gamia, the camel was inside the tent. And who was out now? Because the tent cannot be enough for all of you. So, the Mwarabu was out, and Gamia ilikuwa ndani na ilikuwa imebomoa hata hema. So we say when we talk about hiyo mguu, ni ile ya kwamba unaanzia kidogo. It may be that hard. Tomorrow, it may be more intense. As it continues, the exploration may start. After you explore, then you realize people even, as they say, cuddling or petting continues. And then before, you find even mkono imetembea ndani ya nguo. So instead of, as you say, instead of what you call it, feeding your passions, it's important that you say this far. Because I keep saying, all these are yours. Once you get married, you are given a certificate before even you are practiced. To practice all that you want to do with that certificate. Okay? After that, if you want to, whatever, to hug, to kiss, to do what, no one would ever ask you because you have given the power to do all that pertains to that certificate. So when you start doing it earlier, you realize you ruin the whole surprise. Okay? Yeah. So I want to say this. Some things are what you call gray areas, but the problem is this. If they start very early and you continue, for you to maintain that relationship, you have to keep adding something. Maybe today, somebody gives you a peck, as you say, ya hapa, halafu bed. The next one, hapa, halafu baadaye anatembea karibu, hapa, anaguza hapa. The next time atakuwa, and you start kissing and all that, you realize, emotions take up. If you are alone, I want to tell you, hiyo si ya kuambiwa shidwe, ni mguu niokoe. If you are sane enough and you want to rescue yourself, you realize this is the time I flee. Tomorrow come and say, I realize where we are going, we are decided, we should not go beyond here. And I think we should be maintaining this and revise it again. That's how to maintain a healthy relationship. But if we do not put down our rules or not the don'ts, I keep saying, the best way to handle a relationship is put what we call the do's, not the don'ts. Not say, don't touch. Now tell me what I should do if I don't touch. Will I be stay like this? Now let's agree on what we'll be doing, isn't it? When we meet, what will we be doing? And when we agree on what we'll be doing, it's not always asking, is it right to do that or not to do it? Is it right to, you are not always asking what is prohibited. You want to ask, what am I allowed for now to do? Because there will be that time when you'll be given power to do all that pertains to that marriage certificate and nobody will ask you. Okay? Yes, and we believe that our relationships will be healthy up to marriage and beyond marriage, because after that, you come to the marriage classroom. Now we talk about what we are doing or we have continued to do for that years now in marriage. And we are still smiling and we still eat chocolate. Okay? Yes. Tukali tuko na meno ya chocolate. Chocolate haitaisha kwa relationship. Sio unasikia Kofi? Panga vile utanunua mpaka hata akiwa hana meno anakula. Anakula chocolate. Okay. See you next class. Thank you so much and God bless. Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next lesson of the Marriage Classroom. To get the notes of today's lesson, visit www.mbcimedia.com/TMC. Catch the repeat of the Marriage Classroom every Tuesday at 10 p.m.